Hey guys, Mad Theories here. Now, today we're gonna talk about the theory, like the what if theory, like what if Ichigo was like a troubled kid, he didn't really listen to his father, and he just did whatever he wanted to do. Now, this is gonna be like a what if theory about him and Chad. Now, let's just say Chad didn't he was like he still remained it like as a troubled youth because I believe it was either his step grandfather or step uncle, which I can't remember, basically was teaching him, and he was like, well, don't use your fists for like this and that, use it to protect people, don't fight if you have to, this and that, using showing like the life and stuff, don't be a dick, basically. So my theory is that if Ichigo is evil and Chad would have still remained the same, they both would have still had that kindership, and they would have been like that anime Heaven and Earth where you had Sorichiro and Bob, they just going from school to school beating the hell out of people just to become strong and stuff, and to later on down the road they find out there's a lot of stronger people out there and they get their asses kicked. So I feel that they will probably be like that for like a while and stuff, because Orihime wouldn't want no part of that. Uryu, he's just doing his own thing. So it's like I say, like everything has gone to according to plan. Like they beating up people together and stuff. Like, man, screw this, man, they ain't strong, this and that. It'd be just like that but a little bit different, because the only thing that would scare them and probably like get them to become stronger is when they see like their first hollow, right? And let's just say like the hollow attacks somebody and they can't really do much. Well, actually no, Chad would, because Chad had the arm. Yeah, he still had like he still had like his arm and shit, so he probably would have just popped it or whatever, and then he was like, oh wow. So I would say Ichigo would be looking up a little bit to Chad, because Chad knows how to he know how to handle situations and stuff. So he's like, hey man, like I know this and that and stuff. But he would probably like want like his own little like form of power. So here's this. So what if, right, when Rukia was having struggles, right, and he sees like she fell out and this and that and stuff, and everything's still going to the court of a plan, right? So she stabs him with the sword, he becomes the Shimigami. He takes down the hollow, but in the reverse, Genjo shows up. And he's like, what the hell is going on here? And he sees Rukia laid out, and then the hollow gone and stuff. So he's trying to explain, and he's like, oh, so you did this. So they fight, and then Genjo, he beats him, but Rukia eventually wakes up and he's like, no, he saved me, blah blah blah. And he's like, but why is he like this and stuff? You gave him your power, blah blah blah. This is like a law, you can't be doing this. Now the thing is, Renji, as we all know, Renji showed up and he was telling Ichigo the same thing, and he defeated him and whatnot. But was it Ichigo? No. It was Yes. No. Ooh. It was a long time ago. Was it Ichigo or was it? Ooh. Yes, it was. Renji. Yeah. Renji defeated him. Yes. Oh my God, it was so long ago. But yes, Renji would have. It would have been the same thing as when Renji said the same thing and defeated him. But Genjo would have showed up and stuff, and then they would have like talked and like, oh, this and that, and then it would have been up to Genjo. Genjo would have been teaching Ichigo about certain things. He was like, oh well, we can get you into this, we can get you into that, but he's still a troubled kid, so he wants to beat everybody. Him and Chad. It was like, oh, let me get my boy Chad in there. So him and Chad be talking and stuff, and they be wanting to. They want to try to beat up people and this and that, but he's like, no, this isn't like that. Like, you can't have the power just to do whatever you want. He's like, well, why can't we? So it's like, it's up to him to train him and teach him about certain things. So obviously, Ichigo's father, Ishin, he would have been like trying to, work things out with him, but he's like, he don't want to talk to him, he don't want to work nothing out with him, because he felt that he been lying to him, telling him all types of stuff, and he's been like, man, I don't want it, like, because every time when Ichigo talks about his mom's, he avoids the question, don't want to talk about it and stuff, and he's just, I'll tell you next time, I'll tell you later type thing. So he's like, alright, screw you, I'm about to go out with these guys and whatnot. But then he finds out that that Rukia, he gets a little closer to Rukia, because the thing is, it's like he doesn't get close to Orihime, he gets a little closer to Rukia, but that doesn't happen until way later. But going on into the story, Chad, and it would just would have been like Chad and Ichigo. They both would have been working together. They would have found like some new people and stuff. So it would have been just Chad, Rukia, and Genjo. You know, those two. But like I said before, Ichigo still would have been a troubled kid and stuff. And then he would have had the influence of the Hollow. But the Hollow would have been telling him things, because in this what if story, the Hollow and Ichigo is best friends. They are best friends, you know. He's telling him things, and you know, and he's like, let's just say he's been telling him things ever since like, no, actually, no, scratch that. Like, I would have say, no, yeah, freak that, yeah. He been telling him things, you know, like they freaking best friends and shit. Like, yeah, he telling him things. He's like, oh yeah, we could do this and that. He's like, you know, I'll take over you if you don't do that. Oh, stop playing, you ain't gonna take over nothing. You know, they have like those type of comedic type jokes with each other, but he does allow the Hollow to take over once in a while and stuff. But even though he did say he would devour his soul, but they're best friends, you know. So it's like he has Chad and he has like the Hollow and stuff. So it's like, you know, they don't discover it until like later on, because the execution would still happen, like with whole Rukia, this and that and stuff, and then they would find Genjo to be like, oh, you know, you was working with Ichigo, you allowed certain things to happen, he's not even a soul reaper, blah 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 and stuff. But Ichigo would have been training him, and Urahara would have been training him too. Like, everything would have been happening, but it just no Order Hime and no Uryu. That would have been a thing. It would have been them, and then Chad would have been there and stuff, trying to train and whatever. And, you know, they like, oh yeah, we're gonna execute Rukia and stuff, we're gonna do this and that. So those two has to come over there, and they make up a whole lot of havoc. It's just those two. They make up like a whole lot of havoc, and then they separate and stuff like that and whatnot. And like I think it probably would have been cool to see like those two just bustering up like massive amount of things and whatnot. Then I like to say Uryu would have followed them, but it would have been later on. Like, he would have been like, oh, like, what you doing here and this and that, like, man, blah blah blah. So yeah, I say Uryu probably would have came in there, just not Order Hime, because she still would have been hung over about her brother's death. Yeah, she still would have been like all depressed and stuff, so she wouldn't been talking to nobody. But yeah, Uryu would eventually would have showed up, and he would have been a part of the team later on and stuff. So yeah, it would have been all like those two just making a muck of things and stuff. Then everything still would have happened, you know. Ichigo would have fought Kenpachi, but it would have been different, because the Hollow would have took over, and he would have sliced down Kenpachi, not kill him. Same way when he fought Byakuya, same way, you know. But he just would have been like a troubled kid, so he would have been more of an arrogant ass. That's what it basically would have been. He would have been like this arrogant dude, just like Sorichiro, like, oh, I could beat anybody I want. Man, y'all ain't this, y'all ain't that and stuff. Same with Chad, you know. And two, later on, that's when they changed their ways. Because the whole point about this what if theory is that Ichigo is a dick until he eventually changes and he becomes a better person. And he's like, well, maybe it's not about me. Maybe I should help and defend people. Maybe I should do this. Maybe I should do that and stuff. So it's like, you know, he wants to help people now. Because every time he's always ignored people and he's always done what he wanted to do. Him and Chad, you know, they only wanted to become stronger and do stronger things. They never really wanted to do anything and cared for other people and stuff, because they had their lives was a little bit tough. So, you know, that's how I felt like it would have been and stuff. And then because Genjo, you know, all that stuff that with Genjo did, that none of that would never happen. None of that would never happen. So he would have been keeping an eye on Ichigo and stuff, like, oh, I'm gonna keep an eye on him. And then not say to a degree that Genjo would have Ichigo would have looked up to Genjo. You know, he would have looked up to him, and he'd be like, oh, like, you know, you a substitute soul reaper, you know, now you're gonna get this badge and stuff, and you're gonna be one too. And Ichigo would have been still would have been like, Ichigo would have been the second. Everything still would have went according to plan. Ichigo would have been like the second substitute soul reaper, but it would have been him and Genjo, Chad, eventually Uryu and stuff, and you know, it would have been them, and then Rukia and Renji too. Yeah, because yeah, everything still would have happened, because Ichigo would have been looking up to Genjo, but Renji, yeah, like after when they fought, yeah, Renji would have been there too, you know. So he would have had like all of them. All of them would have been like this little cohesive group, you know. They would have been like this little cohesive group, because Genjo was good. Like, I liked the Genjo, you know. Genjo, he was a good character. Like, I like Genjo, You know, so I felt like, yeah, Ichigo would look up to Genjo to a degree and stuff. He wouldn't care. He wouldn't give two shits about his father until when he started to change and stuff. And he was like, well, maybe he has his reasons. Maybe I shouldn't be this way to him. So he doesn't be like too much of an ass to him. You know, he comes home, you know, when he has to and stuff. He doesn't stay out late. You know, him and Chad, you know, beating up people. You know, so yeah, I think it'll be interesting. You know, a heel Ichigo for a bit until he kind of like sees like maybe there is this a lot stuff that's bigger than him, and he does need to protect people. So yeah, like he does that and stuff, and you know he's not an ass. You know, like he still has like his dickish ways, but he's not like a complete ass where he's like he's just gonna allow people to die. Like he's changed. He's like a changed man, him and Chad and stuff, until he sees like a person that was able to defeat him. Because the whole point about this story is that he never been defeated. You know, until Renji sliced him down and stuff, and then he's like, oh, I need to get stronger and stuff. I need to do this. I need to do that. And that's when he goes under the training and stuff to defeat and get revenge against Renji and stuff. You know. That's how I think I pretty much would see this theory and stuff. You know, heel turn Ichigo for like a bit. But yeah, you know, if you like what you heard, like, you know, please subscribe, share. I know it's been a little bit confusing. Do all that wonderful stuff. Man, I'll catch you later.